Tipping kind of grew out of the old situation where people were providing a personal service to you, probably on the very low end of the salary scale, and you'd give them a little extra for a job well done. Or in some cases, just a job done. You know, we're kind of in that with the cleaners. I mean, if someone were to come in and clean your house and they did a really good job, you'd probably tip them. I don't see what the big difference is. I feel like it's got to be done the right way.
This is Short-Term Rental Management, the show that is all about short-term rental property management, with your host, yours truly, Luke Carl. Today, we're going to talk about cleaners asking for gratuity, tips, etc. All right, so short-term rental management. We are also discussing this a lot in Short-Term Shop Plus, and so I would like to introduce one of our premier Short-Term Shop Plus coaches, Mr. Chuck Kramer. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Thank you.
Yes, wonderful. What have you been seeing lately in general before we get into this tip thing? Like, how's life doing this summer? Are your rents doing okay?
Yeah, actually, we're filling in nicely. Our ADR is actually up, so I don't mind the occasional open day here and there. I work to fill them, but June, July looked pretty good. May was a very unexpected surprise, considering it's traditionally a slow month all over. I'm filled with some optimism. So
I'm seeing the same, and I hate to put the optimism out there because then everybody says, "Oh, you're I don't know, you have some voodoo or something that it's fake, you're not real, it's not real." And I'm like, well, it is real. I did my numbers. I think I'm up to, just over 10 grand, close to 11 grand year over year, which is great. We're through the first quarter. My May was better than usual. Definitely have some spots that are not getting booked. Like for whatever reason, I got some open spots on a 1-bedroom in the Smokies, which is not normal. I mean, yeah, it is normal to have to drop it like stupid low sometimes, if worst case scenario, especially in May. But I've got some that are, just sitting there hanging there. And I'm like, man, then they're already stupid low. But my gross on that thing is slightly under last year, year over year. But my other properties, as a whole, I guess all my properties as a whole, I'm up about 10 grand year over year right now. So I can't complain.
No, that's good news. The one that shocks me the most is my 2-bedroom up in the Smokies. I'm floating around 90% occupancy without an Airbnb booking.
All Verbo, direct, and Google. Any booking.com?
No, I don't have that one listed on booking.com.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I don't blame you.
I hate, if you can't say anything good, don't say anything at all. So I won't talk about booking.com right now. I'm on my third go around with them, and I'll be taking my property off after my last stay. So
I got you. Yeah, I'm using them, but it is what it is. All right, let's talk about today's topic, which is cleaners leaving tip envelopes, or I guess in general, cleaners asking for tips. So I already mentioned the envelope. I think that's best. That's probably a pretty good place to start, is how to facilitate the asking of the tip. All right, take that back. We're going to do that second. We'll talk about whether or not we think this is a good idea first. And I personally say yes. I know I'm in the minority here. I've seen the Facebook threads. I've seen the Facebook posts. And it seems to be a pretty overwhelming number that people say, don't do this. Terrible idea. We don't allow it. We think it's, cheap. We think it's this, that, and the other. I disagree. And I owned a bar, and I worked for tips for the majority of my 20s and early 30s. And I'm a big tipper. I am a huge tipper personally, and I love to tip. I like to go, and I'll go into a restaurant if the waitress is not doing well. If she's not doing her job well, I will tip more in some cases, because I've been her before. I have been her, where you have just had a horrible day. all this terrible stuff going on, and you got to go deal with these idiots and their steak, and I'm more than happy to throw. I mean, I'm not unknown to tip 200%, and so you got to understand, I'm that's the kind of guy I am, and I don't know if it's maybe there's a correlation there between people that don't tip and these people that are posting on these Facebook threads, but when I see these threads and they seem to be overwhelming, I'd say overwhelming, more than 50%. The majority says don't allow these tips. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, we figured out who's cheap and we figured out who the cleaners don't want to work for. I hate to say it. I mean, that's where I'm at with it. You're not going to let people throw $20 bill or $50 bill on the nightstand. I mean, what is wrong with that? I go to a hotel, I leave $20, I leave $50, and it's been going on for as long as hotels have existed, to my knowledge. So I get it. Tipping can be a sensitive subject for some people. Some people say, "Oh my goodness, you tip at the car wash. What are you doing? Why would you do that?" Stuff like that. And I'm a big tipper. I like the idea. I do allow my cleaners to do it. It really, honestly, never really comes up in my world. If it was coming up and it was a problem, then it would need to be addressed. For whatever reason, it doesn't come up. So I don't have a problem with it. And that's where I'm at. I like it. I think we should allow the cleaners to ask for tips. We'll talk about how to facilitate that in a second. Chuck, where are you at on the topic?
Generally, I'm in complete agreement with you. Tipping kind of grew out of the old where situation where people were providing a personal service to you, probably on the very low end of the salary scale, and you'd give them a little extra for a job well done, or in some cases, just a job done. We're kind of in that with the cleaners. I mean, if someone were to come in and clean your house and they did a really good job, you'd probably tip them. I don't see what the big difference is. I do understand the sensitivity in some situations where, I've got one big house where my cleaning fee is almost $600. And then having a tip envelope there for that, I feel like it's got to be done the right way. And I've certainly seen it done the wrong way. And I would not want, I would want that appeal to come from the cleaners and not from me. So,
well, how do you feel? Because we're in the minority here. And I will say that I don't disagree with you if you don't want to allow tips. I don't. Again, to me, it's all just a standard operating procedure. And if your procedure is to not allow your cleaner to ask for tips or leave an envelope, etc., I don't see a problem with that at all. I do allow it. I think it's the way to go. But it seems to be a bit of a debate. We had a thread recently on the internet that hit 200 comments in like a half a day. And so we figured we needed to bring this to the masses on the podcast here. So do you agree? Do you see that it's, maybe for some people it's not a good thing and they're okay with it? Or should everybody allow tips?
No, it's got to be personal. It's that way in restaurants. Yeah, I've been to restaurants that don't allow tipping.
You own a restaurant.
I do.
Yeah.
Our waitresses and our wait staff, I shouldn't be sexist like that because we're about half and half, actually. They do very well with tips. And there's that personal service. They engage in conversation. They're not just ferrying food from taking your order and ferrying the food from the kitchen. They're making sure your glass is full, your cup of coffee is full, whatever. There's a lot of extra work that they're doing. You might remember Airbnb doesn't do this anymore, but in the early days, they had a checkbox for a host that said, "We pay our cleaners a living wage." Do you remember that?
I actually didn't realize they got rid of that.
Yeah, it's been gone for a few years now.
Oh.
Probably more, I'm guessing, I don't know, but probably more so with the advent of cleaning companies that have kind of taken over, as opposed to the majority of people being an independent cleaner, an independent contract employee. Now you've got cleaning organizations. So it's no longer as relevant that way because you pay the company and then it's up to the company to pay a living wage. And that's the other part of this. Most of us do use cleaning companies. I think if you went across the industry as a whole, you'd probably find that more than half are using a cleaning company. How do we know what they're paying their actual cleaners? that person that comes in and does a great job for you may only be taking home, 15, $20 an hour, which is not exactly a lot of money these days. And when you're in a market like the Smokies, where it may take you another half hour or 45 minutes to drive to the next job, that's a lot of downtime for them too. I'm for it. I just feel like it needs to be done in a way that makes it clear that you're expressing your appreciation for their job and not feeling obligated to do it because they're possibly not getting paid enough. So, 170. Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this Facebook group that brought this post on Facebook that brought this to our attention. Which there's been several of them lately, in several different groups, all of which are part of our community. If you can find us, of course, Smarter Short-Term Rentals on Facebook is our big 75,000 people in there at the time of this recording, and the OP on this thread said they found an envelope. And do you think it's okay for our cleaners to be asking for tips? And it's very much on the no side of things. Almost most of these comments are saying nope, no, no way, no, no. They're all one word: tacky. Nope, no, 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 tacky, no. No, I hate them as a guest, and I'm telling you. I hate that as a guest. I'm sitting there like, well, do you not tip the cleaner? You should be tipping the cleaner. I tip everybody. But again, maybe it's because I just tip a lot and I just don't understand this mentality here. So here's one that said, no, hosted and clean my own STRs. I would never allow that, specifically in a high-end STR. I did have a checkout note that said, if you leave a tip, we would refund that amount in the cleaning fee, as my helpers were inspired and motivated by tips. So if a guest left $10, we refunded $10. How do you even, that's a lot of work. I don't even know how to keep track of all that, but that I don't recommend. I would not do that. There's a lot of tacky. I'm seeing the word tacky repeatedly here, and I disagree. I feel the exact opposite. As a guy that's staying in the house, I feel like I got a little class if I leave $100 bill on the countertop. And I'm a little offended that I'm being called tacky. Now, I understand that what they're saying is asking for the tip is tacky. That I understand. And maybe in the defense, we don't have any of these non-tip people on the show today. So let's play devil's advocate. And maybe what they're saying is that if somebody wants to tip, go ahead and leave the $100, leave the $20 bill, but asking for it, I think, is the problem there. And again, I don't have a problem with them asking for it, but where do you stand on that?
It depends. It depends on how it's asked. In that particular post, you'll notice that they included a photo of the note or the envelope, and like I would not be happy to have that signed by the management. Makes it sound like me, the owner. And then that also brings up the question, like, am I really going to pass the tip along? I would be fine. In fact, I'm even thinking about this now that you brought it up, about putting little signs in my places saying that it's okay to tip. If you choose to. Something I have to think of the right wording that, something I'd be okay with.
Yeah. Sorry. So. I agree. This post that we're referring to has a tip envelope. It's very old school looking. And at the bottom of it, it says the management. And it's like, it looks like it was signed by management. And it is, this I would say is tacky. I would say this is tacky because to me, this looks like, first of all, why do we need an envelope? Why are we trying to be discreet here? There's no other people in this house other than you because you rented this house. It's not like, this is almost like the type of envelope you would find in church, right. As the thing is being passed down the aisle. Of course, my church doesn't do that anymore. You just do it on your phone, right? So, but when I was a child, this is exactly what would have been in the bucket as it came down the aisle, although it would have had some different language. But that I understand, we're trying to be discreet with like how much money did you put in the envelope or something like that. So the envelope really doesn't even make sense in this scenario because why don't you just put $20 on the countertop, Right. So I'll give them that. I would say that this particular envelope that we're looking at right now, as a matter of fact, for YouTube purposes, if you happen to be watching on Short Term Shop Plus or YouTube, because I think we are going to release this on Short Term Shop Plus a little bit early. I'm going to go ahead and share screen on this real quick and just so you can see what we're talking about here. It is rather tacky. It's just kind of a tacky, you know, it's labeled to from the housekeeper, so it's a little bit personal there, but the management again, it looks like the owner of the home or the manager, property manager almost is looking for the tip. So that I agree with.
Yeah. I will say there was a point in the past where one of my cleaning crews was leaving an envelope similar to that, but they were using the same envelope over and over and over. And
Meaning the exact same
that was kind
envelope.
of tacky. Yeah,
Yeah.
the exact envelope. They would just take the money out, leave the same envelope, and it started looking kind of crappy. Um, that's it. It just kind of went against the whole idea that the house is clean. So, I did put a stop to that and told them if they were going to do it, they needed new envelope. Had to be a new envelope every time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to
Yes.
get a $20 tip, you can afford an 8-cent envelope or whatever. So,
Yes. I agree there. So I think we've got a discovery here, and it's not that the actual tipping is the problem. Maybe I'd like to talk to one of these no way people, these tacky no way people on this thread, but maybe just the way that they were asking for it. So I think that's a pretty good point. That'll be our point number 2. How do we go about doing this? Maybe we do need to get some sort of classy, sign that goes on the wall or on the countertop. I don't like signs. It's I feel like they're telling me what to do. It's like the Tesla song,
yeah.
But I did, I saw years ago when I first started, my cleaner was doing something exactly like this, and I went out and bought custom envelopes. I even put like her name on them, and so that way people didn't think they were coming from me. And you can get these. You can just Google tip envelopes, gratuity envelopes. There's plenty of options out there on hospitality provider websites, etc. So that might be a decent way to go. But I think maybe it would be better just to either have some sort of sign on the countertop or no sign at all, and just let people tip. Or maybe we put it in our messages. Do we put it in an auto message? Tips are welcome but not required in the checkout message that's going to their phone. That's not a terrible idea.
No, that's not. Or guidebook even.
Mhm.
In fact, probably a little more subtle
Yeah,
and always fresh.
fresh and clean. I like to encourage tips, but do I need to go out of my way to encourage the tips? Maybe not. See, this podcast is changing a little bit here. The vibe is changing because when we first started, I just assumed that all these people were saying, no, don't allow tipping. It's tacky. But now I think I'm uncovering it's the envelope that they don't like here.
Maybe. Yeah.
Let's read a couple more comments. I think it's a bad idea. That being said, if you found my advice helpful, feel free to DM me for my Venmo account and leave a token of your appreciation. Thank you, Kyle, for the joke there. Good job. Look forward to helping you again in the future. So he's making a joke. Tipping is tacky, but feel free to tip me for my Facebook comment. That's funny. Okay, good job there, buddy. Okay,
Well,
here we go. Signed, the management. That would be you. This is what's going on here. You're right. It's the management that these folks are having a problem with, and I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. My cleaners do not speak for me. So, we are in a culture right now. I mean, it's been in the press that there's a bit of a tipping fatigue. Because you're being asked to tip in situations, or you're given the option to tip in situations that it may never have occurred to you before. So, I'll tell you, back when I traveled a lot for business, and I mean, I traveled a lot for business. People didn't know that it was customary to tip your housekeepers. The cleaning team. I'd always leave some appropriate tip in the hotels, and it is because those people generally were paid very little, especially once you get outside the U.S. A $2 tip, it could be a really big deal. This was a long time ago when $2 was something. Today I don't know where we're at on that. I still tip when I stay in hotels. At least for the housekeeping team, I still tip under traditional circumstances. But hey, look, I'll be honest. When I pick up a carryout at the counter, I don't feel like I need to tip. I mean, I don't tip in McDonald's. Why would I tip in another place? I can understand that fatigue, and also the psychology being put on the spot sometimes with you're sitting there in a position you would never occur to you to tip, and all of a sudden, you're doing your card tap on the register, and there's a little choice, a little menu there to pick your tip amount. It's like, I don't like the pressure.
Yeah, I agree to a certain extent. You go to the chocolate store over there where Chuck and I live near each other. I don't know if you do the chocolate thing, but my favorite chocolate place, it asks for a tip, and I'm like, for a piece of chocolate, what are we doing here? But I'll be honest, most of the time I say yes, because it's a 20-year-old kid or an 18-year-old kid, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna tip this person. Sometimes I go a little heavy on it because I feel like they deserve it. They're getting out there, they're trying to make a buck, trying to get somewhere, and good for them.
Yep.
Now,
Agree.
a couple comments here I disagree with. No, guests pay enough, and if they want to leave a tip, they will without being prompted. Okay, I get that. But to me, that's a little, borderline anti-tip there.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a no. I rather pay a good cleaner more than for this. This doesn't make sense. Pay a good cleaner. I don't know what this person's trying to say. Sorry. Somebody says I'd be embarrassed to do that. I run a cleaning company. We've done SDRs for years. No. That's tacky as hell. My goodness. Again, are they talking specifically about the envelope? Nobody's addressing that in this Facebook thread with 200 something comments. So it's difficult to figure out. All right. Well, I'm down with the tip. Maybe we need to come out with some sort of Etsy tip sign that we can put on the countertops. And maybe that's a good way to do it. I think the envelope is what we're causing a lot of friction here.
Yeah, I'll see if I can't have it online by tomorrow. Don't forget the tip when you buy it.
$20 for the Etsy sign. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm down with the sign. I'm down with the tipping. Again, everybody out of 200 comments here saying no. But it's difficult to tell whether they're just referring to the envelope or not. I agree. Envelope. I'm probably out on that. The tipping, I am all in on that. Please tip your waitress. We'll be here all night.
Yep. Please do.
Yeah. And you can find Chuck. He does one-on-one coaching sessions for Short Term Shop Plus, as do I. Did we miss anything?
No, we covered everything here.
Okay. All right. I wish to a certain extent that we had some anti-tip person just for, back and forth on this, but we didn't. We were both pro tip on this one. That was not preconceived, by the way. It just kind of happened. So feel free to.
If you're watching this on YouTube, put it in the comments.
There you go. Tell us whether you think tips are a good idea or not a good idea when staying overnight rentals.
Yep.
I'm all about it. And I always we go to Disney, so it costs a fortune to stay at Disney. And I always get upset if I don't have at least a $20 bill in my wallet. But the problem is when you go to Disney, as Chuck is also a Disney junkie, having an extra $20 bill in your wallet at the end of Disney is probably not very likely.
No, and it means that they didn't do their job to get it out of your to get it from you before you got back to your room to leave.
Yes, I'm actually going next week, and I cannot wait. But and I will try to remember to keep a couple of fresh bills in my wallet for such purposes. So there you go. Tip or not, totally up to you. No right or wrong answer on this. You got two opinions from two veterans, been doing this a long time, and we both agree that tipping is good, but the envelope, we agree. I think it is tacky. So there you have it. Short-term rental management. Chuck, you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
All right. Don't overthink it.